Now, prior to Katrina, one of our deacons, Danny Fenn guy, every time it was time for him to lead us in prayer, he would always begin by saying, God is good, and we would refrain. And then Danny would say, all the time. Oh, that's some fond memories we have there of Danny sharing those words over and over and over again. Well, there was another church that had a deacon who did something very similar. The people who were part of that congregation knew that whenever he prayed, at some point in the midst of his prayer, he would say these words, O Lord, touch the unsaved with thy finger. Now, you can imagine coming to church for years on end and hearing this old deacon pray that prayer, O Lord, touch the unsaved with thy finger. Well, one day he was standing up to pray, and just as he was about to enter into that portion of his prayer, O Lord, he suddenly stopped. And he began to tremble. And he began to shake. And one of the other deacons ran up to the old deacon's side, and he asked, he said, are you okay? Are you all right? He was silent for a moment, and he said, no, nothing's wrong. Everything's okay. But I just heard the Lord seem to say, thou art the finger. Now, in that little analogy, to be the finger means to be involved in ministry. For him, it was emblematic and symbolic of ministry. God was saying, if the unsaved are going to be touched, then it's going to be through the ministry of his people. Through people like you and people like me and people like that old deacon. Ministry. It was World War II. France was bombed. The city was a blight. There was a church that was destroyed, utterly and totally destroyed. The only thing that remained was this humongous statue of Jesus with the outstretched arms. But his hands were blown off. And someone put an inscription at the bottom of that statue of Jesus. He has no hands but yours. Now, emblematic and symbolic, the hands represent ministry. In other words, if God is going to move in this world, you must be his hands. I must be his hands. We must be his feet. We must be his voice. We must be his eyes. We must be his ears. We must be involved, committed to, take heed to the ministry that we have received of the Lord.